Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Assassinhost and today we're going to take a look at how to create a slide down full screen overlay navigation. And this will be our example which we're going to create from. And so as you can see, this is a pretty basic site just for this tutorial. And we have a hamburger icon right here. And once you click on this hamburger icon, you will have a slide down full screen overlay navigation. You have your navigation items. As you can see, home, portfolio, about us, contact us. You can add as many as you want, and if you want, you can customize it in the way you like. And after that, the best part about this navigation is that it's responsive. So even if you resize it to maybe mobile size, tablet size, it is still going to function without any problem. The contents will scale accordingly, not a problem at all. So let's go ahead and see how we can create this awesome slide down full screen overlay navigation menu. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. So basically, I'm going to create a new folder right here and name it slide down tutorial. And here I'm going to create two files, which will be, of course, the index.html and also the style.css. So we are going to take a look at style.css. We have both the files right here. Let's go ahead and open it in Visual Studio Code. What is this? I don't know. Okay, so we have the style.css in HTML code right here. And let me just increase the scaling to maybe 175% so you can see clearly what I'm typing right here. So first of all, we'll start from writing the basic HTML code, which will be doctype HTML, and then we'll just go ahead and close the HTML tag, just like this. Now let's go ahead and get around the head tag. After that, create the title tag and name it something like slide down nav. Okay, and now let's go ahead and link relation equals to style sheet, if I can spell it right, style sheet hyperreference equals to style.css because it's in the same directory. Why can't I type y? Style.css, and after that type will be, of course, text.css. Okay, so now we have created our HTML tag, head tag with the title tag, and we have also linked the actual style.css. Now let's go ahead and create the body tag. And in the body tag, I'm going to create our div with the ID equals to something like myNav, and we'll also have a class called overlay. Oh, sorry, we'll have our class overlay. So basically the div ID equals to myNav, class is overlay, and this is our div. Let's go ahead and work inside it. We'll just create the actual, we'll write a little bit of JavaScript for this, which is anchor tag hyperreference equals to JavaScript void 0, and then the class will be close button closebtn. I'm going to write it something in the acronym as close btn, but you can of course go ahead and define whatever class you wish to define. And we'll also give the on click action. What happens when the user clicks on the close nav function? We'll define the function later after the body tag. So I'm just going to call it right here, and inside it I will put the X. This X is the actual X button which a user will click in order to go out of the menu. So this is the one, and after that let's go ahead and work on the actual links. I'll create a div with the class overlay content, because all the contents like our links like home, portfolio, blog, and everything will go inside it. So I'm writing it as the overlay content. The div is right here. Now let's go ahead and define some anchor tags. A hyperreference equals to, since it's not pointing anywhere, I'll just put a hash right here, and after that we'll go ahead and put our links. So copy, paste, 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 home, maybe blog, and after that something like about us, and then the simple contact us. So now we have our actual links ready to go. Let's go ahead and put a simple navigation text like to show that a simple h2 tag which will say what it is. So I will put something like full screen nav slide down by assassinhost. Since we don't have any CSS right now, if I go ahead and open it in the browser, we'll see something like, well, it doesn't look good. Now let's go ahead and define the actual clicking action. So we'll put a span style equals to font size, these are all our links, basically 30px, and the cursor will be, of course, our pointer. Okay, font size 30px, and the cursor will be the pointer. And what happens when a user click on it? On click, we will pass it to the open nav function, because of course we want the nav to open, and this will be the hamburger menu. Basically, let me go ahead and make it clear. The span style which are making it right here, which is for the hamburger menu. So for the hamburger menu, we'll have this little and the pound sign or hash sign 9776, and we'll write something like open, and then we'll close the span. Sorry about that. Span, come on, body tag is right here. Why are you giving me this body tag right here? Span. So basically span is style 30px, cursor will be the pointer, and when we click on the hamburger icon, which will be this one, it should open. It was past the JavaScript function which is like open. So this is it. Now let's go ahead and create the actual there is this little mistake, because the span got right here, and that's why it was closing the body tag, and now this is the correct one. We have the span style, and now let's go ahead and define the actual JavaScript functions. Script and we'll define our function, which is, we have to define two functions basically. First one is open nav, of course, and we'll define the parameters, which is document.get element by id, and this is it. My nav. After that we'll put the, sorry about that, we'll put style dot height to 100%. Okay, so this is our open nav. When someone click on our hamburger icon, it will span across 100% of the screen. Now let's go ahead and define the function close nav. Okay, now let's go ahead and define it right here. I just updated it. Close nav document dot get element by id, and that will be of course our my nav. Now when someone click on this close nav, of course we want it to be 0% in height. So this is it. Let's recap once. We created the HTML, we did our slide down nav title, we linked the style.css, and we also created our div with my nav and the class overlay, and we also defined the JavaScript void 0 and the close button right here. We also defined our links, which are the hyperreference link anchor tags, and also we did a little h2 with full screen nav slide down by assassinghost, don't mind it. And then span style, this is our actual hamburger icon, which on click it will open the nav, and these are our functions. When someone click on open nav, the style height will be 100%, and when someone click on the close nav, the style height will be 0%. Let's take a look at this current stage. Of course, this is our hamburger menu and it's not going to do anything. Now let's make sure it does something. So we'll go to the CSS and we'll start with our actual body tag. And in the body tag, we'll have the margin to, let's put it 1, just for the fun of it. And then the font family, maybe what should I choose? Arial, Helvetica, and sans serif. Okay. Now our overlay class, which we can select by dot overlay, and then we'll give the height to 0%, and after that the width will be width, width will be 100%. And of course we want the position to be fixed, and after that the G index, because it's on the top, so you can see the G index is 1, top of everything. Top will just have 0, don't want anything right here, and left, of course I don't want anything, 0. Background color, you can go ahead and define any color, but I'm going to use RGB 0,0,0 because it's black, of course. Or you can just go ahead and click on it, and once you click on it you can define whatever color you want. Now let's do this once more. Background color, sorry, it's not background attachment, we need the background color once more. and we are going to put RGBA because we want to define the opacity. So 0, 0, 0, and this is 9. Overflow hidden, and the transition will be for 0.5 seconds. You can of course go ahead and define more transition speed if you want it to go slowly and smoothly, but 0.5 best. It's just simply the best. Now let's go ahead and talk about overlay content class. CONTENT, overlay content, position relative, top will be 25% because all the content, we don't want it to stick to the sides or something like that. The width will be of course 100%, and then let's take a look at text align center. Margin top 30px. And now let's take a look at all the anchor tags inside the overlay class. So basically overlay, and we are selecting the anchor tag, and let's define padding should be all around 8px, and then text decoration none. We of course don't want it to be blue or something like that because that will look ugly. We want it to look great. The font size 36px, and after that we'll have the color to be something like has 81 81 81, which is this grayish like little gray color. And then display block and transition 0.3 seconds. Now what happens when somebody hovers on the actual all the links? Then it should turn to white because currently it will be gray, and once someone hovers over it, let's go ahead and take a look at it. As you can see, these are gray, but if I hover over it, it turns white. So let's define that. Dot overlay a, and the state will be hover, and also the dot overlay, if it's in focus, we'll define both of them right here. The color will be white, COLOR hash F1 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 F1. Yes, white color. Now let's talk about the close button. Overlay dot close btn. Position absolute. Don't want it to be moving here and there. And from the top it will have a little bit of margin of 20px. After that, from right it should have 45px, and then let's define the font size. Font size should be somewhere around 60px. We want it to be a little bit bigger than all of them, so let's go ahead and save it. So as you can see, we have the full screen nav slide down by assassinghost, and we click on open. It opens all of these, and this X looks ugly a bit. I'll fix it in a while, but as you can see, when we hover over the actual link, it turns white. And now if we just do something like this, if we resize it to be Come on, can I resize it? Can I resize it? Then as you can see, we have we have more space here, less space here, and things like this. So let's go ahead and make it responsive too. So for responsive, we'll have our media screen, media query, media screen. What happens when someone reaches the max height of let's just say 450px. Okay, 450px. Dot overlay the overflow in y-axis will be auto, and then we'll have our dot overlay anchor tags. We'll just simply reduce the font size to be something like a 20px. After that, let me increase the brightness right here. Okay, after that we'll have our overlay close button dot close paytm, and we'll define some things right here. We also need to shrink the close button a little bit. We'll go font size 40px. From top the margin will be 15px, and from the right it should be 35px. I'll go ahead and save it. So basically with media query you can define different elements, how to modify, like how will they modify if a certain height is reached. So in this example I put the maximum height to be 450px. What happens when the browser window gets to 450px? Then we'll do some changes in the overlay. We'll put the overlay in the y-axis to auto. We'll put the overlay of the anchor tags, and then we'll go to the font size. We'll just decrease the font size a little bit just to accommodate the size, and also we'll decrease the font size and top and right margin of the close button to accommodate the space. So let's go ahead and open it. So as you can see, it will now look fantastic. So as you saw, this is the full size, and when you just go ahead and make it small, it just shrinks. So basically, as you can see it in real time. This is big, and when you do that, it goes to a little bit smaller, just so that it can accommodate everything. And of course you can go ahead and do all the other changes. Let's go ahead and fix the close button. For the close button, I believe the actual, yeah, it's and times. Instead of this x, you can put n times right here, and once you do that, the slide down nav will behave. This looks fantastic. Before it was something like this, and it wasn't the best close button in the whole universe. But now if you just put n times and reload it, you can see it now looks fantastic. Okay, so basically this was how you can do it. And we want the navigation hamburger menu to be this side. It should float right. So let's go ahead and go to the span or the actual hamburger icon and put a span ID of hamburger, because it's the hamburger icon, and go to the style.css, and somewhere around here, since we put an ID, we'll put hash and then hamburger. After that we'll do the float right side, and then we'll put a little bit of padding, which will be 35px. Let's save it and see how it looks. Boom, we have the hamburger menu to the right side, and now you can just play with padding and different things. Let's actually, I don't like this text here at all, so I will just get rid of the h2 altogether. So now we have our slide down full screen navigation overlay menu. Once you click on it, you will see all the links. You have the X button or the close button, and this is also responsive, as you can see. So this was basically how you can go ahead and create your own full screen navigation menu easily, and the code can be found on my GitHub if you are too lazy to actually write all this code. I'll link it in the description right below the like button. Be sure to hit a like and also subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, also press the bell button so you can get the latest notification. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.